SBI has certainly surprised everyone with their latest circle-based officer notification, and it's quite a recent development because as per a recent internal circular, the central board had met on 15 July where they had decided all of these things. So you might still have a lot of questions regarding this notification. So I'll not take a deep dive into the entire thing, but I'll solve some questions that you might have for this notification.
Hi, this is Supriyo. So the SBI circle-based officer notification has been brought out by SBI and it has surprised everybody. Now you can get the full notification on my Telegram channel, so check it out, and I will try to discuss some important questions that you might have in your mind. And if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below and I'll definitely try my best to answer them. So let's start off with the first question. Is this the new SBI PO notification? No. The answer is a resounding no. It is not a SBI PO notification. The SBI PO notification is going to be delayed, that is for certain, and the vacancies might be reduced a little bit, but right now there is no clarity in that. First thing that we must look at is the details of this notification. So let's take a look. There are a total of 3,850 vacancies, as you can see on the screen, for just these 7 circles. So only 7 circles have been notified. Remember, the SBI PO vacancies usually range around 2,000 per year. So this is quite a lot of vacancies. So also note that all these circles are what is referred to as officer deficit circles. So these circles, they usually have high vacancies for officers, and these are the only ones that have been notified. Now there are other interesting things mentioned about the eligibility. So the first one is that you will have to choose only one state. So you are sure of getting into your chosen state, just like it happens for SBI Clerk. You get home state posting, and very important, you must know the local language of that state. So the 10th or 12th standard mark sheet showing that you have studied that language will be enough to prove that. Next thing is that you will remain in that same state till Senior Management Grade Scale 4, the SMGS 4, or till you complete 12 years of service, whichever comes later. So if you become Scale 4 very fast, then also you need to wait 12 years before a transfer is granted to you. The third eligibility is that graduation is enough, just like SBI PO recruitment, and your birthday must not be earlier than 2nd August 1990 for the general category students. And the most important thing now, you need minimum 2 years experience as on 1st August 2020 as an officer in any scheduled commercial bank or any regional rural bank to be eligible. So the freshers, they are not eligible to apply, but the private bankers, they can apply. So if you are from HDFC Bank, ICICI, Axis Bank, etc., you can apply, and you can also apply if you are working in an RRB as an officer. So these things, they should tell you already that this is not the SBI PO notification. This is something totally different. Now, is the SBI PO going to be abolished due to the CBO? Now, before I answer this, understand a few things. Now, in the State Bank of India, there are POs. So they are the SBI POs. So these are the people who are recruited each year from the examination that you are most familiar with. So POs are there, SBI POs. And then you also have something called the TO and something called the JMG1. So what are these categories that we already have? So the PO, the probationary officer, they get a chance by which in 2 years they can become Scale 2, and a lot of emphasis is given by the bank on the POs because it is a very important position and the bank focuses a lot on the welfare of the POs. Now what about the other 2 categories? So these 2 categories, they are drawn from the clerical cadre. So a clerk, an SBI clerk, can get promoted to become a trainee officer, or they can get promoted to become a JMG1 or a Scale 1 officer. Now understand something, that the TO post, the trainee officers, these are the people from the clerical cadre who have shown a lot of promise. So they are promoted at a faster rate and they can also be treated almost at par with the probationary officers, just a little bit lesser. But the JMG1, these are the people who have the least priority by the bank. So they are placed at the bottom of the food chain, and this is the exact vacancy that has been declared by this CBO or the circle based officer. So every CBO, they are going to become junior middle management grade Scale 1 or JMG1 officers. So this is where they are getting recruited. Now you can understand what this means. This means that they are not treated as well as the POs are going to be treated. And remember that the PO, he does not need to know any kind of local language. So a PO does not have any local language needs. A PO is eligible for ICT or the inter-circle transfer, but the CBO, as we just saw, is not eligible for that. So these are the important considerations that you have to remember. Also, salary wise, the probationary officer, they start at the basic of 23,700, but they get an additional 4 increments. So 4 increments are given to the PO right at the start of the career. But the JMG one, what has been told in this CBO notification is that you are going to start at 23,700, but you are only going to get 1 increment per completed year of service, per year of experience that you already possess. So if you are a person who is an officer in some other organization for 2 years, then you are going to get only 2 increments over here. So your starting salary, it's going to be much lower than a PO. So these are the very important things that make us understand that this SBI PO post, it is something totally different. So PO will remain. There is no chance that the PO is going to be abolished due to the circle based officer. So make sure that you understand this. Don't panic. SBI PO post will still come. But now what has actually happened, you have to understand the entire context, right? So what is actually happening these days is that a lot of POs, they are getting promoted to scale 2 officers. So a scale 2 officer in SBI, it means a deputy manager. But the scale 1 post, what's going to happen to that? Because even the TOs who were recently getting actually promoted, they are also getting promoted to scale 2 or the deputy managers. So a lot of scale 2 officers have accumulated, but there is a very less amount of officers for scale 1. So that is the post that SBI is actually trying to fill using this recruitment. And of course, a lot of people are now saying that SBI means Surprise Bank of India. Each year they try and bring something new, and it is true. Yes, they always try to bring some surprise even in their examinations. But always remember that this is not something new. Even in 2010, this has happened. There was the recruitment of the agri field officers. So a lot of field officers, which is actually the scale 1 officers, were actually brought in by SBI so that they could give some agri loans. And also loan related different recruitments have happened earlier as well. So this is not something totally new. This used to happen earlier as well. So don't feel that this is something out of the blue. This is just something that SBI felt this time, and I'll take you through why the reasons are. I'll just move to that question soon. So the next question, let's take a look at the next question, which is, will the exam have direct interview? So yes, that is the plan right now, that they are going to shortlist all the people that have applied, and within that they are going to find people that they are going to select for the interview. Now what will happen is that SBI has not actually kept this totally closed. They have left it open because in the notification they have mentioned that this is subject to change. So if there is a need for a common written examination, they are going to keep that written examination in the future if it is needed. Why have they mentioned this? This is because if a lot of people are going to apply, it is of course not possible to just go ahead and interview each and everybody, right? So that is why they have kept that open. But as of now, you can assume that it is going to be direct interview. So make sure that if you are applying for this, you have a great knowledge in banking awareness. You need to know all about what you are working on, your job profile, what you are doing in the bank, and all about the banking awareness. And I hope that the recent series that I have started on banking awareness will help you do just that. Now, why has SBI done this? Now, this is the most important question on minds of most aspirants, that why SBI has suddenly done this. Now I know that this can feel very unfair, but at the end of the day, SBI is an organization. It is a company that has to make a profit. So try to see this thing in the perspective of the bank. What are they thinking? The first reason is the COVID situation. Okay, so the COVID situation, it means that you cannot train new people if you are getting them in, and there is a lot of problem in the examination as well. You cannot hold the examinations. There is no certainty. So in this kind of a situation, if you see that there are officers in other banks who would be willing to actually come to your organization and you don't even have to train them. So here what they have said that the probation period is going to be 6 months, right? So usually the SBI POs, they are trained for 2 years, right? But here they have kept it only as 6 months because they are taking in experienced people, and these experienced people, they do not need much training. So this will save the bank a lot of time and money, and this is something that I know is quite cold-hearted by the bank, but the bank is an organization, remember. And I know you and I, we might feel this is unfair, but this is what the bank has decided, and now we cannot actually question them. And the second thing that is there is a little bit more complex. So recently what has been happening is that there is a exodus of young bankers from the bank. So a lot of young bankers are actually leaving the bank. The attrition rate is very high, and there is also a complexity regarding the ICT, the inter-circle transfer. there is a long list of people who actually want to travel to their home state. So what you have to do, what happens is that when you are in the bank, when you are working, you are supposed to fill a form that where you want to work. So if you want to work in your home state, then you have to just make that choice, right? And this list, it has become very long. So lot of people want to travel from one state to another state. So bank is seeing that is there a way in which we can stop this so that people do not want ICT so much, so that we can have people at the same center for a long amount of time. And this has led to the birth of the CBO concept, the circle based officer concept. So what will happen, these people till 12 years they are going to be in that circle, so until they become scale 4 or till they reach 12 years. So it has been mentioned in the notification, whichever comes later, then they will be allowed to go for the ICT, not earlier than that. So people will be staying inside the bank, and both these things are going to be fulfilled by the CBO notification, and that is exactly why SBI has done this. And the expectation is that these officers who come from other banks, they will also not try to leave because they will be in their own state, right? And these are the kind of things that the central board is thinking about, and you and I, we don't have any hold in that kind of thing. We cannot have any objection here. So the final thing that I want to leave you with is that what should you do? Now this is the important thing, the very important thing, that right now what should an aspirant do? So first of all, if you are working in a private bank, if you are working in RRB and you want to move to SBI, if that has been your dream, then this is a great opportunity for you. Go for it. But remember that the pay and the perks, it's not going to be similar to the PO. The PO life is not something that you are going to get. You are going to get the JMG1 life. And for freshers, for people who are actually preparing right now and are very disappointed, I understand you. I do understand how difficult the situation has been. 2020 has been the worst year. There have been so many difficulties in this year, and recently I have made the community post and a lot of you might have seen that. I was really touched by your comments on that, and I know what's going through your minds, and I really cannot give you something that is going to ease you, but the only thing that I can tell you is that every hard situation is going to change. There is always going to be some bright ray of sunshine that is going to come into our lives if we persevere. We have to stay strong. This is the only option we have right now. IBPS PO is there, IBPS RRB is there. So these kind of examinations are going to be coming, and they are going to help you to get selected, and even SBI PO is going to come. If not now, then later it is going to come. Life has mysterious ways by which we will reach where we are destined to be at. That is what I want to leave you with. I hope that you learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.